y'all. Welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a Decolonizing Consumerism, and today's topic is beware of marketing. If you're new here, this is a course I put together for my community college, but I'm in a town that has no interest in these things, so I'm putting them over here because it's important information to share. Sorry, I'm just doing my thumbnail for the collective convo quick. This is not our first course. I've been doing this for a few months, sporadically when I feel like it. Clueless reference, maybe for you. Anyway, hey, I'm Ashley. I'm a psychic, and I have ADHD, so it's entertaining over here. At least there's that. So anyway, I do have a bachelor's degree in communication, and my master's is in social justice and human rights. So consumerism and marketing is something that I find really interesting. At one point, my mom, when I was in my undergrad, she was like, "You should go into like commercials," and I'm like, I have a much larger purpose. Like, I have no interest in like selling people shit. Just because I'm observant about marketing. So anyway, that's the framework I'm working from. Beware of marketing. So there's like psychology around marketing. We live in a capitalist society, consumerism, it's a consumer-driven society. If we stop buying shit, society would crumble. The elite, those in charge, the powers that be, the ones that have billions and trillions of dollars and own everything, would cease to have that power. So it's very important that we decolonize and stop giving them that power. Now, we do have to do that to a certain degree because that's the system that they've put in place. But that's all it is. It's just a system that was put in place by some greedy ass fucking weirdos. So, beware of marketing. Because I think that when we are unable to, so there's this, I've seen this a lot lately, it's like, you're not just a consumer, you're also a creator. And I think that's really important to keep as like a baseline for this conversation about marketing. If you feel that urge to like consume and buy, right? And I think most everyone, especially if you're here in the United States, suffers from some sort of addiction, whether it's retail therapy, you know, drugs, drinking, smoking. There's some sort of like, I need to buy this, to do this, to feel better aspect that each of us have. Fast food, candy, chocolate, right? Whatever it is, there's some sort of transactional agreement that we have with some sort of product or products that brings us that instant gratification and satisfaction, but because we're not living to our potential and we're not creating the way that we should be, because we're, you know, our time and energy is going towards others who are making money off of us, right? Our labor. Because of that, because we're not creating, we are still in that constant need for consumption, okay? So when we're starting to decolonize, I am someone who goes through addictive cycles. I don't like labeling myself as an addict. That's just a me thing. It's not that I'm, you know, undermining anything or denying it. I know I go through addictive cycles. I just do. It is something that I've done, sometimes harder things than others, right? Right now, my addiction is, well, I don't know, this week has been funky. I've been reclaiming my power a little bit. But I was going through a lot of like, anyway, I'm not going to share that. So, anyway, think about that. Think about what it is that you get off of work and immediately, your muscle memory wants to do this one thing. Right? Do you need to get a Coke from the vending machine before you leave? Are you going to stop at McDonald's, right? What is it? What is the thing that you has become a part of your daily routine? Maybe completely like subconsciously, like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that until this conversation. That's a part of decolonizing, is starting to realize your own patterns, but using the system as not a blame, but understanding that the system was created this way. The psychology around marketing is very real. These motherfuckers have studied, right? There's like CIA files on this shit. Have studied how colors make you feel, how color associates, right? So McDonald's, the red and yellow, ketchup and mustard, right? Suggestive marketing. But it's pretty universal, especially with globalization. Right now, it's really universal. When we see the golden arches, we all think, whatever our favorite thing from McDonald's is. And that is just one fast food, right? So think about, I think the reason I want to talk about this now is because the next topic is suffering for the benefit of the rich. And I just did a collective convo on warlocks. So between those two topics, we're talking about beware of marketing, because warlock energy, spiritual warfare, and the rich are like the same thing. The rich use spiritual warfare in addition to all other warfare: psychological, spiritual, physical, emotional, manipulation, violence, right? Especially with social media right now and the internet. I'm so glad I had the experience of being a millennial. I'm so glad that I had my life started without the internet. I'm very pleased with that, because the internet is replacing reality, right? I have this sticker that I made that says reality is losing credibility, because it is, especially with the introduction of AI that we've all experienced this year, and the vast construction of these data centers and the way that that's going to affect our environment, make things even hotter, take away water. Like, I have no interest in living on a planet that's much hotter than this. I already live in Arizona. I'm in northern Arizona and I'm suffering. It's still a desert. But anyway, they're building a data center here in my town, and it's been in the works for years. It's been very hush-hush, and it's happening, right? That makes me feel uncomfortable, because we are in the desert and the water sucks. But I don't know why I'm going into this. Oh, AI. Because AI has taken over marketing, and what I've really realized in the past week is that I got off of TikTok because I couldn't handle everybody having the same commercials and reading the same scripts, trying to sell the same shit. The TikTok algorithm changed tremendously. I don't want to deal with it anymore. A billionaire, Ellison, what's his first name? I don't know, I don't care. But he owns TikTok now, and he changed the algorithm, and it's just not what it used to be. And so I left TikTok. I also left Instagram. I am on Facebook locally, but I delete that and re-download it just because of Marketplace. That's the only reason, because I really want to get some things off of Marketplace, so I keep checking that. Don't need to share that either. But all of this to say is that marketing is a science. I took a persuasion course in my communications major, and it was all about how to persuade people to do things. It was an entire course. That's an entire semester, 12 weeks of learning how to persuade people. Hence, that's what marketing does. But I think with the introduction of AI, that's where I was going. So I've been watching YouTube only. That's why I told you about the other apps. And I do a lot of tarot readings on YouTube, and I've noticed every time I walk away from my phone, or leave it, I'm not staring at it, an ad will come on, and it's usually a really long AI ad now, and it's there's all of these fictional scenarios, and they're playing out entire movies. The movie Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway is one of these AI ads. It's oh, are you the older intern? And it goes on forever and ever, but it's all AI. And it's driving me and it's not driving me crazy, because I'm really aware of it. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because please, the way that AI is being pushed on us through narrative, a lot of these ads are also I haven't even looked at them. I don't know what they're actually advertising, but they come on every time I go to water the garden and leave my phone in here, or walk away from my phone. this like 15-minute fucking ad comes on, right? So it's like forcing me to go back to my phone and like hit the fucking arrow. It's irritating the fuck out of me. And so beware, right? Because it's just gonna get worse. It's psychological warfare, right? Like today I kept my phone, I had my phone charging in the bedroom, and I was in and out of the kitchen and was taking care of the animals. You know, I'm like all over the place, but my phone's charging. I got my Bluetooth. And literally every 30 seconds, there was a new ad. And I was just watching like one tarot reading, and she usually doesn't get too many ads on her readings, especially if I have my phone. But so that's the thing. It's like whatever's in these that's scanning our brain waves or whatever is really, 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 really working on the persuasion or annoyance, or there's some sort of emotional manipulation that AI is doing to us. It's crazy. So please beware. Please be aware, right? Like be aware of what's happening. How is it impacting you, right? And maybe it's not your phone, but maybe it's, you know, any of the other things I already listed. I think that the reason it's important to talk about the rich, because they have power over that. And again, it's an industry. The psychology of marketing is huge. I've already given you examples. There was a Target ad a few years ago. I think it was still in Los Angeles. And at the end of the ad, it showed the Target symbol, right? Like the bullseye. And then at the very top, it had an accent that just blipped on the screen and off the screen. Like literally 1 or 2 seconds, the accent was there. And that was subliminal messaging for people who call it Target. Like, I picked up on that because I love it, alright? I love reading through, I love seeing the marketing thing. But that was a complete subliminal messaging. 1 or 2 seconds of just an accent over the bullseye. People who say Target thought that. It's insane. So, psychological warfare, warlocks, and the rich, and marketing. It's all one thing. And so when I was talking about warlocks, I was talking about interpersonal, but the reason I wanted to talk about these things in tandem to a degree is because they pull on the same psychological manipulations, right? At the base of both of those is control over someone else, right? Control in how you think about things, control in what you go by. So when we are coming into consciousness, when we become more aware, and if you're interested in this topic, go ahead and check out the Hidden Messages in Media course. It's its own playlist. I think we talked about ads. I think I talked about social media and ads in that, but also, I mean, all of the other media, music, movies, cartoons, kid stuff, yes, adult cartoon, reality TV, the news, right? What else? I think we talked about ads, we talked about social media. It's like all-inclusive course. Again, my bachelor's is in communication. I find this stuff really fascinating because one of the questions that's always that's been leading me in my journey is why do people allow, I studied genocide, and I'm like, why and how do people allow, like, not just genocide, but like atrocities or injustice to happen? Like, why is there so much apathy about it? And a lot of it has come back to people just don't know that they're being controlled. People are unconscious to what all of these things we're talking about, right? The subliminal messaging is working. It's going under their radar because they're unconscious about it. So when you're unconscious about these things, not just marketing, but like the war or the wars, the world around you, you know, when you stay in your own bubble, when you only believe in the things that you believe in, or you don't learn about anyone else's stuff. Like, I work from a framework of like, we're all experts of our own experience. So just because I haven't had an experience doesn't mean that like hasn't happened to you, right? Like, and vice versa. We've all had different things happen to us. That's the point of life. We're not supposed to experience everything. We're supposed to learn from each other. who have had different experiences, right? We have a choice. We get to get up from those experiences, and we get to choose to either make everybody that we meet go through those things, or we choose to be a part of the solution. And like, wow, that was really painful. I don't want anyone else to have to do that. Like, what can I do to help people out of those situations, right? Hey, that's me. That's why we're over here. So those are the things that I think are important. So just beware of marketing. I think, just those 2 ads that I mentioned. Again, go ahead and check out the hidden messages in media for more in-depth about all of these things. If you're really interested in the decolonizing, you really have to start with the hidden messages in media and the way that they do program you. Before you can really start to decolonize, because once you understand the tactics that are used against you, it's much less emotional to go through the process of decolonizing. Once you understand that you're, a pawn in this larger system, to varying degrees depending on who the powers that be are in the situation, right? Like federal government, local government, reptilian overlords from different galaxies, right? Like, there's like all of these different, levels of the hierarchy, and once you're able to figure out where you are in like the hierarchy, and the way that they use you against you, right? The way that they encourage you to use your own money and power and time and energy against your own, your own interest, right? Your own benefit. So marketing is a huge thing, and when we're decolonizing from consumerism, when we can start to recognize those things, they don't hold power over us, right? When we can recognize that accent and who that was targeted to, when we can recognize that, McDonald's is disgusting, right? There's so much information about McDonald's is funding the IOF to begin with, but it also has come out, and I've known for a decade that McDonald's meat is human meat. Like, I've known for a long time. A lot of people are still not aware of that. I do not eat there. The last time I tried to drink, I tried to ignore that they were funding the IOF and like supporting the IOF, and I went there and I got now like an ice cream cone, and I got like a high C. And when I went to drink the high C, it was so thick it felt like I was drinking blood, and I'm like, I can't support these people. And that was the last time. That was a few years ago. Obviously in the midst of the genocide in Palestine and how all of that information has come out. But anyway, those are just my personal choices, but it makes me feel good to know that I'm not blindly consuming when I know better, right? Unfortunately, Israel does own like a fuck ton of shit. They've worked behind the scenes for so long to make it that way, just because we have to, buy certain things, like that's the system, and that's part of it, is that they've kind of, they being the powers that be, they've created this system, they've molded this reality in which we might not agree with what we have to do, but we have no other choices, right? And they call it freedom. And I've done plenty of segments about how the only freedom we have is our freedom of consumer's choice. And if you don't have money, you don't even have that, right? You have no freedom. So I hope this helps. Those are just a couple examples. If you see ads, which you will, again with the AI stuff, it's getting really, really, really irritating. Like really irritating. Like, I was so irritated with like the commercials on TikTok, but YouTube is getting really, really bad. And so again, I don't know if it's, the scanning, or I don't know, infrared, I don't know what it is, but the fact that I like walk away from my phone and an ad comes on immediately is absolutely infuriating. I don't want it. I want to leave my phone around sometimes and be able to listen. So, I don't know, pay attention to this stuff, I guess. Again, understanding the tactics makes it easier to disengage emotionally. When I first started this process, I was hella emotional. And that's fine too, but a lot of the times, we all have our own conditioning about emotions. And in our society, it's like we don't have time for that. So whatever you go through, whatever you bring, like feelings come up, are valid, right? If you need any support, you can come to me. I'd be happy. I'd be more than honored to walk with you, like at a one-to-one level, and support your process. It's not easy by any means, but it is important and it is powerful. And it's all a part of the process of reclaiming our agency, which is what we're going to need to really do or really be able to have actual freedom, right? When we make these systems obsolete in our personal lives, we can do that at a larger scale, especially if a lot of us do it, right? And maybe not even obsolete because we have to continue to participate, right? But when they tell us to be afraid and we act afraid, they're winning, all right? When they're telling us to act, feel like we're in scarcity and we feel like we don't have enough, they're winning, okay? So let's decolonize from that and take our power back. Have a good one.